Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Adrian Atkinson. As Jamaica continues to recover from the impact of Hurricane Melissa, the National Housing Trust, NHT, has rolled out a series of targeted disaster relief initiatives to support contributors, mortgagors, and families whose homes or livelihoods were affected. Joining us today is Dwayne Burbick, Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at the NHT, to break down these relief measures and how Jamaicans can access them. Welcome to the program, Dwayne.
Thank you for having me.
It's really a pleasure to talk with you about this very important issue. And so let us kick things off by you telling us about the initiatives that the NHT has activated with regards to the response to Hurricane Melissa.
Well, there are four main ones that the NHT have put in place. Firstly, we've activated our peril insurance coverage arrangements at this time for our mortgages, and that extends to individuals who service their mortgage with the NHT. Their monthly mortgage payment is not just the principal, that the amount they've borrowed and interest. It also includes peril insurance and life insurance. So at a time like this, they're able to submit claims to get some support to repair and to restore as best as possible their properties. In addition to that, we're offering moratoria on mortgage payments up to 6 months for mortgages in the 7 most affected parishes. By that I mean Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, St. Anne. I think I captured all of them.
Yes.
But those 7 parishes stretching from Manchester all the way back around to St. Anne. For mortgages in other parishes, we're mindful that they too may have been impacted. And so the NHT is also offering moratoria to those mortgages on a case-by-case basis. In addition to those initiatives, we're also looking broadly at our contributors and their families who may have been impacted. So at this time, the NHT is offering a hurricane relief loan. That's for a loan amount of $3.5 million at an interest rate of 2%, payable over a period of 20 years or up to age 70, whichever comes first. And we're not restricting that just to the homeowner. We said contributor for that because we're also mindful that families in other parishes may be impacted, but siblings, spouses, offsprings may be living in other areas and want to provide some amount of support. So we're allowing family members to make those loan applications on behalf of those who have been impacted to assist with the repairs. And finally, we're also offering a disaster relief grant. So that's a grant of up to $500,000 that the NHT is offering. Grant, meaning you don't have to pay that back. And that's for contributors again. Or mortgages, of course, or pensioners. We are also considering them at this particular time, and that they too need support. And even if you were a contributor, you stop paying, the NHT is also looking at an accelerated program where you can get up to date with those contributions and also benefit.
Right. And so for persons who are perhaps just tuning into this segment of the program, we're going to go through them, just item by item. So give some additional information in terms of the hurricane relief loan. Who qualifies and who receives it? And the cap is $3.5 million. And what can they use it for?
Definitely. So I'll start with that last question first. So that $3.5 million can be used to make repairs to the property, and that's from damage directly as a result of Hurricane Melissa. Right. So it's to make those repairs, but we're also mindful that in making the repairs, you probably want to make some improvements so that should a hurricane come, it's probably should or probably is when the next one comes, you're in a better position. So something we're conscious of, that some mortgages at this time are perhaps, or homeowners generally, are looking at probably transitioning from aluminum zinc roofing to slab roofing in some areas. So as part of the repair effort, the NHT is giving consideration to that as well. So you don't necessarily have to put back the zinc roof. If you want to put back something that you think that's more resilient, we will facilitate that as well. And just generally any repairs as a result of the hurricane. And it's for homeowners, but we're not restricting it to the homeowner who owns name is on the title.
Right.
If there's someone in the household who perhaps is in a better position to take on the loan obligation and not necessarily the homeowner, the NHTs also would allow the contributor in the household to make the loan application. And even if you're not in the household and you want to help out an immediate family member who has been impacted, you can make an application for that loan.
So those who make an application for the loan to carry out the repair work, do you have a team from the NHT that will go in to make sure that there's an assessment that is done prior?
Definitely. Currently, we have social workers at the NHT who are out in our housing developments and just out in our communities assessing what has been the impact on our contributors and bringing information and this relief support to them directly. We engage for the hurricane relief loan our project officers in particular who look at the property before, assess the damage, ensure that the estimates and the work that is put forward will indeed, the funds are available to cover. And we'll do some amount of monitoring as well. So we won't disburse all 3.5 million in one go. We will do that in tranches. So the first tranche and the project officer will say that is to cover ABC. When ABC is completed, our project officer comes back, look, make sure that the work is done satisfactorily, and will authorize the disbursement of the remaining amount. So that helps the mortgager. We're not the contractor, but at least we're there to support to ensure that those who are doing the work are doing so according to plan.
All right, so we talk about the loan. Now let's move right into the disaster grant. Talk a little bit about who you're targeting, the key features, including any specific requirements, and who will be given priority.
Of course. So Hurricane Barry last year, if I could go back to that, was the first time we offered a disaster relief grant. And we learned several lessons from that that would allow us to offer a better set of options this time around. So last time we considered just the homeowner for a $300,000 grant. This time, post-Hurricane Melissa, it's a more serious hurricane, of course. The impacts are far more devastating. We increased that amount to $500,000 for the grant. And we are also not just restricting it to the homeowner. We're looking at the contributor generally. So if you contribute to the NHT, your property was damaged, you can put in an application.
I want you to hold that point. We're going to continue the conversation after this. Our guest today is Dwayne Burbick, Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at the NHT. We are at the break, but stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is a crisis, and it is one thing that we must never do, is waste a crisis. The other word for crisis is opportunity. And this is an opportunity to make Jamaica stronger. And I know that with unity, togetherness, genuine unity and togetherness, Jamaica will recover and recover stronger.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We've explored the loan and grant facilities, but there are other critical supports in place for those facing financial strain or property damage. In this next segment, we turn to mortgage relief and insurance process. Still with us is Dwayne Burbick, Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at the NHT. But before we get into this, Dwayne, we want to continue talking about the disaster grant and who is qualified.
Right. So once you contribute to the NHT, you're able to put in an application to repair a property. It may not be the one you're living in, Once it's a house that's been damaged by Hurricane Melissa, you can get a grant for that. We're also being more inclusive by, of course, allowing our pensioners who don't have the wherewithal to take on a loan arrangement to repair their homes, so they can get a grant as well. And finally, we're also even looking at the individual who used to contribute to the NHT and perhaps stopped, how they can bring their contribution status up to date, become current with those contributions, and they too would be able to put in an application for a grant. And we are, of course, prioritizing need, those worst impacted, and we're using, of course, the estimates provided for the repairs as a guide. So
it's not a first come, first serve situation?
Not a first come, first serve. We just look at each application, how much is needed based on the damage, and we make a decision to provide a grant.
Right. And so let's segue right into the moratorium, that special moratorium. Talk to us a little bit more about how it works and who is covered.
Who's covered? Once you're an NHT mortgager, you service your mortgage with the NHT on a monthly basis, you're covered. So those individuals can download a form from our website, nht.gov.jm, and there's some supporting documentation we will require to include photographs of the damage, and of course the estimates to repair. We're mindful as well that some individuals, their property may be compromised to the effect that they may need to do some emergency repairs. We're saying go ahead and do those repairs, but of course document it, before and after photos, maintain those receipts, and put that in along with your claim.
Which is very critical, yes.
Yes, so we are also looking at reducing processing time, especially now we're anticipating an increase in terms of the number of claims following this particular event. And so we are strengthening our teams in terms of the number of assessors who will be on the ground to do the assessment so that we can get to the next stage of payout as quickly as possible.
Right, and so there is no specific time that the NHT has earmarked in terms of paying out, and you don't want people to hold the NHT accountable by saying, well, the NHT did say 2 weeks or a month, and so that is not happening. So as quickly as that can unfold, then it will happen.
Right, and I want to encourage, though, Adrian, our mortgagers to put in those claims as quickly as possible. The insurance arrangements say within 45 days, a claim must be made. Melissa is not ordinary business as usual hurricane, so we did some negotiation and we were able to get an extension. So mortgagers have up until January 15 to put in those peril insurance claims. January 15, 2026 to put in those peril insurance claims.
So now walk us through the application process for the special moratorium.
The special moratorium, thankfully, there isn't much of an application process because we're making it automatic. By just looking at those 7 parishes worst affected and generally just applying the moratorium. So we've made contact with the employers for those who service their mortgage via salary deduction and say, hey, stop making those payments. We're giving them a 6-month break between November 2025 and April 2026. So come May 1, your first mortgage payment will be due. But if you're still not yet in a position, you haven't recovered, and in a position to start making mortgage payments, let us know, and we will see how best we can support you further.
So in other words, you're inviting those who will benefit to come to the negotiating table with NHT so that they can decide what's the step forward.
Definitely. And even for those who, when they are ready to start making mortgage payments, again, come May 1, and they're seeing an adjustment in terms of their payment because we're now adding back the insurance arrangements that we would have held for the 6 months. If that new monthly payment is not comfortable for the mortgager, again, come and let us know so we can make some adjustments to probably your loan term so that your monthly mortgage payments are comfortable for you again.
In other words, extending the loan term.
Yes.
So we have to be very specific because there's something called Chinese telephone that people hear what they think they may have heard. And so the NHT is really willing to go to the table to ensure that they extend themselves in a particular way that everybody can reap the benefits of all the initiatives that are being offered. Now, let's talk now a little bit about the peril insurance claims. What is covered and what is excluded?
So we have at NHT what we consider a comprehensive blanket peril insurance coverage scheme. So it covers natural disasters, hurricanes, we're talking about Melissa, but we also cover earthquake, volcanic eruption, theft, fires, just about all the disasters that could possibly happen.
Think of, yes.
Yes, the insurance arrangements that the NHT has cover that.
Right. And the mobile units and outreach, where can affected residents access in-person assistance?
We are, of course, as you said, bringing the service to the mortgages, because we are mindful that not everybody may be in a position to put in an application now, probably not even getting the message. So we are bringing the message, we are bringing the forms with our mobile unit to them. So for that, you want to stay tuned to our social media pages, because those dates, of course, we're prioritizing NHT branch offices and service centers that are not at full capacity right now, with some support from the mobile unit. But on those trips, we make a stop at the branch office and then we go into the communities after. So follow us on any of our social media pages and you can see a schedule of where we will be next.
Right, and so you've outlined some deadlines for some relief initiatives. Is there other timelines that people need to take into consideration, and where do they go to access the application form?
Okay, so we know that people will recover at different paces, and so we're not putting any timelines outside of the peril insurance coverage, which we are governed by an agreement that says you must report this disaster and make the claim within a particular timeline, that being January 15, 2026. But outside of that, we're saying to our mortgagors, our contributors, those impacted, as soon as you're in a position to, you can put in an application. So no deadlines just now at this stage. And for more information, our website, nht.gov.jm/recover. We've created a nice portal space there which has all the application forms, the checklist of supporting documents required, and some frequently asked questions that can guide the application process.
Thank you so much, Dwayne, for talking to us inside Get the Facts this week. And so, as Jamaicans continue to make sense of this devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, just be assured that the NHT is here to help you get back on track, to build back stronger. Well, our guest was Dwayne Burbick, Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs at the National Housing Trust. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Take care. This has been Get the Facts.